I'd like to call to order the Common Council meeting for the City of Muskego for December 20th, 2022 at 6 p.m.
As well.
Attendance roll call.
Alderpersons Wolf,
Here.
Hamel,
Here.
Terrence,
Here.
Kapusta is absent, Schrader is absent, Kubaki,
Here.
and Madden.
Here.
We have a quorum present.
Thank you. Statement of public notice.
The meeting was noticed in accordance with the open meeting law.
Thank you. Public comment. I don't see anyone here, and I'm guessing you two don't want to say anything extra. Communications from the mayor's office. Actually, I did have something, and it's on my other thing. Well, first of all, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. Tax bills finally reached houses on Saturday. I think most of you probably got it. Those were actually mailed out from our vendor like a week and a half prior to that. The county kind of picks our vendor. I'm not happy with them. This is the second year in a row. We had them ready like December 1st to go, and they shouldn't take until the 17th. Problem with it is, for one, people now are crushing that time period into coming in, they're paying their bills, and as Christine can attest, they get a lot busier because they have more of a compressed time to come in and pay. So I did send an email out to the county executive asking for him to maybe look into a local vendor instead of someplace out of Oregon, because it's not like we don't have printers around here that can handle that. But I haven't gotten a response yet. Just a reminder, those that are coming in to do your tax payments, it'd be nice if you can think of those less fortunate. I do have the food pantry has a non-perishable barrel in front, that if you could bring a non-perishable food along, that would be awesome to help restock the food pantry during this time of year. Reminder that the Common Council meeting for December 27th is canceled. This is the last one of the year. And I think that's about all I have. So have a good New Year, everyone, after this. Moving on to consent agenda. Approval of the Common Council minutes from November 22nd. Resolution 103, 2022, approval of the Fleet Farm Stormwater Management Practice Maintenance Agreement. Resolution 104, 2022, approval of the agreement with HydroCorp for the Cross Connection Control Program. Resolution 105, 2022, approval of private property infiltration and inflow reduction agreement with Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewer District. Resolution 106, 2022, approval of a letter of credit reduction for Muskego Biotech Building LLC. Resolution 107, 2022, approval of parking fee changes at Isle. Resolution 108, 2022, approval of increase of fees for the 7 boat launches on the lakes in the city of Muskego. Resolution 109, 2022, approval of a preliminary plot for the Kirkland Crossing East development. Resolution 110, 2022, approval of a increased credit limit to the Elan credit cards from $3,000 to $5,000.
Motion to approve and gross. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. New business, Resolution 111, 2022, resolution to approve memorandum of agreement naming a proposed dog park.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. So we have if you read the resolution and the accompanying memorandum agreement, we have a very generous resident, Ms. Karen Tews, who approached Alderman Kapusta and myself probably around 9 months ago with the interest of having a dog park in this community, and she is making a $100,000 donation towards that park. The plan is to have the park built at Moreland Park, just a little bit off of where the soccer fields are and behind the skate park area. Centrally located, we have the proper land and layout there. It'll be a fenced-in area for big dogs and small dogs. There'll be like a separate section to it. As part of her agreement, she's asking to have the naming rights for the area, which she has come up with Bandy's Paw and Play. Her dog's name, I assume, is Bandy. Any questions or comments? This is one of every park survey that we take, it comes out to be one of the top requests in the community. The dog park will be self-policed as far as picking up after it because we couldn't find any volunteers from the Public Works Department that wanted to have this as their regular duties. Scott thought about it, but decided not to. We've talked to other dog parks, and that's pretty much how they work. They self-police. If they are not self-policed and people start leaving remnants behind, we close the park for like 2 weeks or a week, and that makes people angry enough that they start calling people out when they don't pick up after their dog, or they just pick it up when they see something. So it works pretty effectively in other communities. So I'm looking forward to having it, and it's gathering a lot of excitement. And
How big is this going to be roughly?
Don't know. Do you know how big this is going to be offhand?
I can't remember.
I want to be rough about this. I thought it was like we were close to 550 feet one way and then maybe 40 feet, 40
it's
feet
bigger
by
than a football
550.
field.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a fairly big area. So
The other thing that will be part of it is we're going to have an area for memorial bricks where you can buy and like put a name on it, and those funds for those bricks will go towards either improving it or adding like dog run toys and stuff. Like there's stuff you can add to these things. You can go crazy with them if you want, but we should have a pretty nice one with the donation and the accompanying money we already have put aside for one. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. In front of you, you have a review of the committee reports from the Finance Committee minutes from October 11th and 25th, and the Plan Commission minutes from November 1st. Unfinished business, ordinance 1480, an ordinance to amend the zoning map and the 2020 comprehensive plan for the city of Muskego RSE to PD Kirkland Crossing subdivision / Jansen, second reading.
Move to approve. Second.
Discussion?
Just a comment. I had chatted with the developer, who I think is here in the back, and shared with him sort of my thoughts. I don't know if I'm going to press like I thought I would, but I would love to see us try and figure out a way to address some of the, I guess, the long-term plans for our, the paths that we're dealing with from a recreational side, right? So I know we've looked at a number of roads where we've had complaints that, hey, there's no walking path, right, across the city. And so now we're going back and trying to figure out, do we add them? Do we spend then $750,000 to put them in? I would love to see us kind of address that as these come up with some sort of, I don't know, whether it's a fee or even put it in the plan that says, hey, look, if you're developing along certain roads, that we expect that developer to put just this section of path in on their development side. Realize it's maybe a little late on this one and maybe something we can kind of talk about from a planning end. But I would love to see us do that proactively rather than retroactively to say, hey, we're going to now deal with it after there's an issue. So I guess that's a comment kind of on the bigger picture, maybe something we could talk about after this one is over. But it's definitely one that that came up when I looked at college. I know college is a little bit odd, but just to see us developing that and then thinking, okay, 5 years from now, we're going to have all these homes and they're going to say, hey, there's no walking paths. And then we're going to try and go back and revisit it. So that's kind of my only comment.
Any other questions or comments? Regarding the path, the one problem, I mean, didn't we used to do that?
We used
Sure
to.
did.
Yeah.
So, what?
every homeowner will be charged a fee as part of this, just to let you know. Now, it's a little harder to do, and just to let you know, you'll scare developers away a little bit if you start doing this. I'm being honest with you. When, for example, like different roads, and let's look at different cases here. When we did Bay Lane and when we did Hill and Dale, Bay Lane, we put it in. For Hill and Dale, we decided not to. Perfect idea when we do the full reconstruction of it. I believe that's what we did for Test Corners too, if I understand right. When we do it with developers in there, just to let you know, for this one, on the west side, there will be a path from their subdivision into Park Arthur. We kind of made that path to be there. Now, they're only on Martin Road for a small portion of it. You know what I mean? They don't upfront the whole player. So it's hard for them to pay for a path that goes way down in front of other people's house. And as I said with paths, and I've been here, for every person that wants a path, you're going to have one person that doesn't want a path. And I would have to say the most controversial things that I've seen is paths here in my 5 years. I mean, it has been people coming for them or against them. The other problem that it is, and we are behind in the road program. And I think that's clear to say. It costs a lot. It costs almost the same amount of money to do a path in some cases as doing a road.
Can we use park dead fees for?
There's
paths?
a trail, there's some park trail fees that we do have, and we do set them aside, and we do use them for certain situations when we want to make improvements to paths. Or, for example, we looked at them when I think we added that little portion on Martin, when we used that, it's just a little portion from Janesville right to the church. That was a couple years ago. And then we used it on Racine to finish it from the school to that first subdivision. That was the last time we decided to do 2 paths in the city that were outside of a full road reconstruction. The problem with that is, and you weren't here at the time, the first time we bid it came over way high. So we had to rebid it again, and then it came within the budget, and we increased the budget. I think, do you guys remember that?
Yep.
Yep. So they are costly little things that did happen.
They are costly, and I mean, one of the things, only time it makes sense to do it is, like Scott said, is during reconstruction. And, our previous council, and I'll blame myself, we should have done it without a doubt, it should have been done on Hillendale. I know the neighbors came out against it, but they were thinking that the path was going to take over more of their yard. And it wouldn't have, because it would just replace where the ditch is that they all hate.
They complain about.
I'll blame myself on part of that, because when we put it at the bid, I should have had it bid as an alternate at that point, because I know the plans were done already and I wasn't going to undo everything, but I could have had that part done. And especially with that project came in was so underfunded or under bid that we could have done it then. And I think, as Scott says, when you propose them, I wouldn't say 1-to-1, but there's probably 1 to 3 people that are against it versus for it. Once they're in, it drops down to like 1 person hates them for every 10 that love them, because.
And usually the complaints are the people that are, their property's affected, right? I mean, if we're looking at it on this side of it, technically there are no homeowners, right? So if we're planning, hey, that's the road, the path's going to be there, they're not going to come in. Now, you had said at the beginning, there's a fee connected with.
Yeah, the park dedication and trail fees, like if you look at it, it was a couple years ago, it used to be the developer had to pay all that up front.
Okay.
And 2 years ago, when the homeowner comes in to get his building permit, there's a certain amount of money that goes to park dedication, certain amount on the trails, certain down conservation. And there's accounts there for it. Now, also to bring up other points about when we think about subdivisions, Mallard Reserve just went in. So there's a little path between 2 homes that are on the west side. Now, there's right there's a conservation area. So you could walk from, when we're going to planning after Great Water Lines is to put a little asphalt, kind of a little parking lot. You can walk from the Marshfield area through that subdivision, go through Mallard, go on Prego, and get to the Sandhill Park. So we do think about this. Another one is, I believe it's called Autumn Pen, came to Plan Commission, and their proposal for conservation was, hey, if we get a couple extra lots, we're proposing to donate a whole path between Boxhorn and Ryan, if I remember right. So we do a really good job of when a developer comes in to look at it, but we also do, I think, a fair job. Not like, hey, guess what? I don't need a path, all the way down the road, but we try to make it as connecting as much as we can.
And even if we wanted to, I don't think that one.
Well, I wouldn't propose them to do the whole path. My thought is if we're, obviously that section.
The area that fronts the road, I could see possibly doing, but then you have a path going to nowhere and it's an island. And then when you do the rest of when you finally do start tying them in, or it's also going to spark everyone else of saying, now I want the path added before we do the road. And this subdivision, if it ever comes to fruition and it is completely built out, it's going to be about 170 homes. If we took all the park dedication money there, it's going to be about $500,000. Nowhere near what that path is going to cost more than that. So I mean, it's just they're expensive. They just are.
Rick, if you remember with Quietwood, the developer put the paths in.
Yep.
At Astor Hills, the developer did it. At Big Muskego Estates, the developer did it. At
we were pushing for a lot of that back then. Like on Nick Shane and everything.
I'm not against doing it.
We pushed a lot of that,
but like on a main road, because in those cases they went all the way through. It was from point A to point B. But to build these, to have the developers putting them in these little islands where There's probably
No,
not-
we had them connect to paths.
Yeah.
We didn't just have them run them.
The other path is, the path on that road is already on the other side. So even so what are we gonna do? Have people like going, you know?
Well, you know, if it's in the scheme of paths and it's in the middle, they should put it in anyway, because eventually we're gonna connect it and we're gonna end up paying for it. So, I mean, that's been our goal for a long time, and somehow we moved away from that a little bit, I believe. Like you said, a lot of those recent ones that we did before, I should say, before the recent developments have put paths in on the major roads. And I think that's a great practice.
Is this something you guys would want on a future cow to kind of set some direction?
Absolutely.
I don't know, I think it's been hashed around in the past. I thought we were on that path already.
I think we need to formalize it.
But if there's dedication funds where before the developer was paying for that, and indirectly they are now because it's part of the plan, someone's paying for it, but the money's there.
And you can make it as far, I mean, I'm pretty sure you can still make it like we require them to put a road into our specs. So we would just change our specs that they would have to put paths in
On the
certain
major
areas.
roads, yeah, and if it's in
But that's something I think we should probably talk more about in a dedicated conversation.
Well, I'll give you a quick example. On Racine, right up here past Walgreens, the path stops and it turns to grass and it starts up again by Impro. And we purposely didn't put that in because we saw future development going to go in there, whether some of those houses probably be torn down or something or sold, that it would go in at that time. And that was some of the things we were looking at when we were putting paths in. So we were on course to do all that. I don't know where we lost it. I think probably change of a few people and stuff and not really paying attention to the development as much as we did. So, yeah, if you want to throw in a call, that's great. But I think we've already had plans to do all that. We probably should just get back to it.
Well, I think one of the things is we've been kind of judicious in where we put in the paths and because of the expense
Right.
of the paths. I know the one that went south on Racine from the school, that was crossing a waterway, and that's why it got so expensive over there. But we've been, I guess judicious is probably the best
We
word
got,
for it.
if you look, we have a good plan that's always written up.
Yeah.
Again, you know, as you do it, and I'm just want to hesitate you can kind of work with the developers, but if you only have a certain frontage of that land, it's hard to say, okay, connect that one and other people down the way down to do it.
Let's throw this on a future cow, 'cause for one,
Yeah.
we're getting off the subject a little bit,
Yeah.
so. Any further discussion on the ordinance as presented? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. Voucher approval.
Motion to approve utility vouchers in the amount of $53,084.74.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
Motion to approve tax vouchers in the amount of $44.09.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
Motion to approve general fund vouchers in the amount of $666,992.39.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That passes.
Motion to approve wire transfers for payroll in the amount of $782,118.50.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. City's officials reports, we have none. Communications miscellaneous. Business as authorized by law. Any updates from the liaisons from any of the committees? Any future agenda items?
Snow.
You want snow?
That's what's coming. Snow. That's
Okay.
future.
Not sure, we have a lot of power, but I'm not sure we have anything to say over the snow. Motion to adjourn would be in order.
Motion is adjourned.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned at 6:20. Thank you. Have a great Christmas, everyone. Happy New Year.